ServSafe Chapters 5 and 6 Exam Questions. What are the temperatures to store TCS foods? Cold, hot, frozen, temperatures that keep it frozen. What are the 4 steps in food rotation? 1. Identify the food item's use-by or expiration date. 2. Store items with the earliest use-by or expiration dates in front of items with later dates. 3. Once shelved, use those items stored in front first. 4. Throw out food that has passed its manufacturer's use-by or expiration date. Where should you put thermometers in refrigerators? In the warmest part of refrigerated units, and the coldest part of hot holding units. Key drop deliveries. Food service operations that receive food after hours when they are closed for business, products are then placed in coolers, freezers, and storage areas. What are the circumstances in which to reject frozen food? Reject frozen food if fluids or water stains appear in case bottoms or on packaging, or if there are ice crystals or frozen liquids on the foods or the packaging. Describe the general practice for preventing cross-contamination when referring to equipment. Make sure workstations, cutting boards, and utensils are clean and sanitized. What should be on labels for food that is packaged for retail sale? Common name of the food or a statement that clearly identifies it. Quantity of the food. List of ingredients and sub-ingredients in descending order by weight. This is necessary if the item contains 2 or more ingredients. List of artificial colors and flavors in the food. Chemical preservatives must also be listed. Name and place of business of the manufacturer, packer, or distributor. Source of each major food allergen contained in the food. This is not necessary if the source is already part of the common name of the ingredient. What documents should you keep for shellfish and for how long? Shell stock identification tags for 90 days. How should you store food in order of food storage in the refrigerator to prevent cross-contamination? 1. Top 5 bottom 1. Ready-to-eat food 2. Seafood 3. Whole cuts of beef and pork 4. Ground meat and ground fish 5. Whole and ground poultry. How should you store food in a clean storage area to prevent cross-contamination? Clean dollies, carts, transporters, and trays often. Store food in containers that have been cleaned and sanitized. Store dirty linens away from food. Store them in clean, non-absorbent containers. They can also be stored in washable laundry bags. What is the temperature at which milk can be received? 45 degrees or lower. What is the temperature at which live shellfish can be received? Receive at an air temperature of 45 degrees and an internal temperature no greater than 50 degrees. What should you look for in packaging when accepting or rejecting foods? Types of damage: tears, holes, punctures, bulging or swollen ends, rust, dents, bloated, leaking, discolored, tampered liquid, leaks, dampness, water stains, pests, items with signs of pests or pest damage dates. Food items must be correctly labeled. Do not accept food that is missing use-by or expiration dates. Reject items that have passed their use-by or expiration dates. What documents should you keep for fish and for how long? A documentation that states the fish was raised to FDA standards and it must be kept for 90 days. Describe the general practice for preventing cross-contamination when referring to storage. Return prepper food to the cooler, or cook it as quickly as possible. What is the temperature at which shucked shellfish can be received? 45 degrees or lower. How should you store food around supplies to prevent cross-contamination? Store all items in designated storage areas. Store items away from walls and at least 6 inches off the floor. Store single-use items in original packaging. Describe the general practice for preventing cross-contamination when referring to presentation. Food must be offered to customers in a way that does not mislead or misinform them. Customers must be able to judge the true appearance, color, and quality of food. Do not use the following to misrepresent the appearance of food: food additives or color additives, color overwraps, and lights. Food that has not been honestly presented must be thrown out. How do you check the temperature of vacuum-packed foods when receiving them cold? Insert the thermometer stem or probe between 2 packages. If the package allows, fold it around the thermometer stem or probe. Be careful not to puncture the package. Describe the general practice for preventing cross-contamination when referring to quantity. Only remove as much food from the cooler as you can prep in a short period of time. This keeps ingredients from sitting out for long periods of time. What things should you look for when rejecting or accepting food for quality? Appearance. Reject food that is moldy or has an abnormal color. Food that is moist when it should be dry should also be rejected. Do not accept any food item that shows signs of pests or pest damage. Texture. Reject meat, fish, poultry that is slimy, sticky, or dry. Also, reject it if it has soft flesh that leaves an imprint when you touch it. Odor. Reject food with an abnormal or unpleasant odor. What is the temperature at which cold TCS foods can be received? 41 degrees or lower. When should food deliveries be made? When staff has enough time to do inspections, schedule deliveries at a time when they can be correctly received. How do you check the temperature of meat, poultry, and fish when receiving it cold? Insert the thermometer stem or probe directly into the thickest part of the food. Describe the general practice for preventing cross-contamination when referring to additives. Only use additives that have been approved by your local regulatory authority. Never use more than it is allowed by law. Never use additives to alter the appearance of the food. Do not sell produce that was treated with sulfites before it was received in the operation. Never add sulfites to produce that will be eaten raw. How to check the temperature of packaged foods like milk cartons when receiving them cold. Open the package and insert the thermometer stem or probe into the food. The sensing area must be fully immersed in the food. The stem or probe must not touch the package. What are the steps to follow for an item recall? 1. Identify the recalled food items by matching information from the recall notice to the item. 2. Remove the item from inventory and place it in a secure and appropriate location. 3. Label the item in a way that will prevent it from being placed back in inventory. 4. Refer to the vendor's notification or recall notice for what to do with the item. What must you receive from the delivery person if you are rejecting an item? A signed adjustment or credit slip. How should you store food in containers to prevent cross-contamination? Store food in containers intended for food. Use containers that are durable, leak-proof, and able to be sealed or covered. Never use empty food containers to store chemicals. Never put food in empty chemical containers. How should you date ready-to-eat TCS foods? Must be marked if held for longer than 24 hours. It must indicate when the food must be sold, eaten, or thrown out. What should be on labels for food for use on site? All items that are not in their original containers must be labeled. Food labels should include the common name of the food or a statement that clearly and accurately identifies it. It is not necessary to label food if it clearly will not be mistaken for another item. The food must be easily identified by sight. What is the temperature at which frozen food can be received? Frozen solid. What is the temperature at which hot food can be received? 135 degrees or higher. What is the temperature at which shell eggs can be received? Receive at an air temperature of 45 degrees or lower.